Thank you very much, Bibi and Karina, for introducing me to what a value chain for nutrition means. 5 or 6 months ago, I had a real concept of how to apply a value chain or even what it was until I read Karina's paper. And it's an excellent paper, which I hope you'll take advantage of getting a copy and reading it, because it very well explains, brings you along so you really understand the potential of value chains for nutrition. You've heard repeatedly in this conference so far how we have kept agriculture and nutrition and health in their own silos, and that we need to break those silos down. From my standpoint as an academic person, and as Per mentioned earlier this morning, we start with training. We need to bring into our universities, where you have international agriculture and nutrition programs, problem-solving interdisciplinary courses, and not in departments of agriculture or departments of nutrition, but in ways that bring those students from these different disciplines together in the same classroom. There's not enough of that going on in universities, although it is beginning to happen. I know at Cornell there is very definitely a big effort to get this interdisciplinary approach in a problem-solving setting. I know at Tufts it's going on, and in a few other universities in UK and the Western world. I wonder how much is going on in the developing world, in some of the countries where the nutritional problems we're trying to solve are the greatest. And I would hope that going away from this meeting, some of you academicians from these countries might take these concepts back and introduce them into your programs in your own countries to bring your students together in a problem-solving interdisciplinary approach. And I believe this value chain approach offers an opportunity for doing that. And so I'm very much encouraged. But, you know, I've been brought up in academia, and it's not easy to introduce interdisciplinary types of courses and training. There are barriers that have to be brought down within universities. We structure our departments around tenure for faculty. And how do young faculty members get tenure? By publishing in peer-reviewed journals. Very important. But at the same time, those faculty members who become involved in interdisciplinary types of courses face the problem. If they don't publish within their own specialty, they have difficulty sometime in getting tenure. And that is a barrier to interdisciplinary approaches. Another barrier is the fact that scientific journals tend to not publish articles that are more interdisciplinary in approach. We've got to break down that barrier that would encourage faculty members and students to publish in peer-reviewed, respected journals in both nutrition and agriculture, and that is not easy. I'd like to make another couple other remarks about this value chain. As Karina has said, up to now, nutrition has really not taken advantage of building value chains for nutrition, and we need to correct that. it would be so easy to go from the agriculture, which usually takes the value chain from the field to the market, to go from the market to the household. And there's lots of areas in that portion of the value chain in which value can be added when you look at how foods are stored and processed within the home. If we look at that and see where some of the processes are actually destroying some of the nutrients that are coming to the market in nutritious foods, but if we get it to the household, some of that may be destroyed just by inter-household processing or storage. A value chain approach will help us to identify those problem areas and seek solutions. Another thing that I would mention is that clear nutrition goals need to be documented as to what they're, using a value chain approach, if they're really having an impact. And too often our nutrition programs do not have a good evaluation of the real nutritional and health impact of the programs that we are following. And finally, I would say that a value chain approach for nutrition certainly leads to gender considerations. After all, most of the small women farmers are not only the producers of the food, but also feeding their family. And my perception of how you get stability and sustainability into some of these programs is when you go there to the community. As Bibi says, find out what the problems are for that producer and consumer and feeder of their children, and begin developing your value chain problem identification, problem-solving approach from that context-specific area. And I believe that one of the groups closest to the community for doing that are the NGOs, both local and international. They're the ones who most know the community-level problems. And I wonder, Bibi, if there is an opportunity to build into their training value chain approaches that they can perhaps introduce into women's farming alliances and other groups to teach those women themselves how to become evaluating their own problems through a value chain approach from the field to the fork. I'll stop there.